Hello students, welcome back to art class. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most influential art movements in history, Cubism. And we're also going to be talking about one of the most important artists of all time. You've probably heard of him. His name is Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso was born in 1881 in Spain, but he spent most of his adult life in France, which is where many artists wanted to be at the time because it was the world's center for art. Around 1907, him and his artist friend named George Braque invented a whole new style of art called Cubism. If you think about it, this was only a short while after the Impressionists had changed art with their new way of painting that we talked about earlier. But now they wanted to change art completely and paint things in an abstract way. So what they did was they broke down the things in their painting into geometric shapes. They wanted to show the object like you could see it from lots of different viewpoints, like you were looking at it from the front and the side, and maybe even on top, or maybe even from the back, all at one time on one 2D canvas. So that's where you get Picasso's crazy mixed up faces. Have you seen these before? Picasso is very famous for making portraits, especially of women, where one eye might look like it's going to the side, one eye might be looking straight at you, there might be a mouth totally up by the cheek. They were wild and crazy and totally new. People had never seen art like this. Besides faces, they also made still life paintings and landscapes in a Cubist style. So that's what I want you to try today. It's actually kind of similar to when we did our stained glass paintings, where we broke up our picture into lots of different shapes and triangles and colored them in with different colors. What I want you to do is to try to work like Picasso in this style, where you choose something to draw. It could be anything. It could be something simple. You can set up a very simple still life. I'm going to show you one where I draw a ukulele because Picasso often painted guitars in this style. And I want you to try to draw it where it's broken up into different shapes and try to put in the same picture where it looks like you can see it from different angles, so you could actually look at it and draw it from different angles, all in the same picture. And then I want you to color it in with markers, paint, colored pencils, whatever you would like to use, where you create different tints, tones, and shades. And if you remember, a tint is when you add white to a color. A tone is when you add gray to a color. And a shade is when you add black to a color. And this was how the Cubists created a tonal effect, which you can see here. This is a fun and creative exercise where you get to be the artist and create this how you want. You will abstract it how you want and what looks good and cool to you. This is about the process and learning from a group of artists who broke all the rules over 100 years ago and changed the way we see art. So let's get started. Have fun. Okay, here was just some lines I drew for a Cubist style teapot and cup. It kind of fell on the ground though and got a little dirty there. But you can see I broke it down into different shapes and I tried to show it from a few different viewpoints. Okay, so I'm going to look at this ukulele and just start drawing in a Cubist style, breaking it down into different shapes. Okay, so I just had fun with breaking it up into different shapes, kind of looking like it's shifting and hi baby, and drawn at different angles. So now I'm going to show you in parts of it how you could paint it to create your tints, tones, and shades, or how you could use markers with where you have different shades, or with a pencil, or with pastels. So here we go. Okay, wow, I've actually never painted anything like this before, so that was really fun for me. And what I was doing was really just breaking down, just drawing all these different shapes. I was mostly adding a solid color and then choosing to add black into one side and then light onto the other side. And then as you can see, it looks really cool when all those lights and darks come together and touch. So I used paints for this mostly, but you can see I also used pastels and I also used markers. You can see in a couple different areas, it's just markers. So you could use just markers. That could be a really cool effect. You can use pastels. You could use both pastels and markers. You could use colored pencils. Paints, however you want to do it. And this was a lot of fun. I think this was one of my favorite art activities I've done for a long time. So I hope you have a great time and I can't wait to see your artwork.